Hi, this is Dr. Jenny Huey from Instructional Design Innovations, and this is the second video clip in our series about flipping the classroom. The first clip was a short overview of flipping and a definition of flipping, and now we're going to talk about how to get started, what to do to flip the classroom. There are three main issues when you think about flipping the classroom. The first one is access. How will the students, and that could be any type of students, be it children in a K-12 environment all the way to adult learners, how are they going to access your content? The second is how are you going to create the content? What's it going to include? And what are the pieces of creating the content? And then finally, how are you going to organize it? Where are you going to house this? If you're talking about video, it's usually very large files. And so how, in an easy way, can you organize the content so that your students can access it? The first one is obviously something that is continually being dealt with, that if all the students don't have the same technology and if that's not available through the learning institution, then how can a teacher make sure that the students are able to access the content? I think the first thing to keep in mind is don't assume. Find out what technology your students already have. What kind of cell phones do they have? What kind of computers do they have at home? What possible technology tools are available in the learning environment? And then once you find that out, and I think you may be surprised from many, many educators that I've talked to, once they don't assume that this is an issue. When they really find out what technology their students have, then they find that it's much easier to manage and fill in the gaps. So once you find out what students don't have access, don't have internet access, and don't have the tools to access the lesson, the next thing is to fill in those gaps. And I think that's starts by looking at what is available in your building. Are there devices, laptops, iPod touches, tablet type devices? What is available for students to possibly check out? And also, what labs are there? Is there the possibility of simply opening the computer lab up before or after school so that these students can have access? And this idea of kind of thinking outside of the norm and trying to find different ways for students is the key to having them access the content. The bottom line is, if you have a couple computers in your classroom, they could possibly just use those computers, and you just need to organize and find a way for time. I realize that this is a huge hurdle to jump, but I think if you first start with the number one and don't assume and find out where your students really are, it will get you moving towards flipping the classroom. The second is in terms of creating the content itself. First of all, let go of perfectionism. Probably the most famous example and the person who started the idea of flipping was the Khan Academy. And if you take a look at that website and see his videos, they're not perfectly filmed and edited, and there aren't a ton of graphics or anything. It's just simply him teaching, and it's been extremely, extremely effective. So I think, first of all, let go of perfectionism. Second, look for free or cheap screencast software. And that's something similar to what I'm using right now. I happen to be using Camtasia, but software that enables you to talk while your screen is captured so that you can share and make videos right on your desktop. And then the next thing is focus, focus, focus. The lesson has got to be on the essential nuggets of this content and exactly what students need to know and be able to do. This will enable you to make shorter videos, which you'll see is essential. Because if your video is going to be more than 6 minutes or you don't include visuals, then don't even bother. In this generation of visual learning, and everything that's coming at the students is so visual that first of all, if you don't include visuals, they're going to tune out. And secondly, if the video is more than 6 minutes, and ideally it should be more around 3 minutes, then they will also tune out. A lot of examples, there are great examples on iTunes U, but if you happen to go to iTunes U and listen to a lecture where somebody has taped a 60-minute lecture, it is really, really difficult to sit and just listen to that without visuals and with it being so long. So again, look for the essential content and chunk your content into smaller, bite-sized morsels. The final thing we're going to look at is how to organize the learning environment. And this is the idea. You've got to find some place to house these videos, hopefully somewhere that isn't on your computer because they're so big, and then have them in an easy way for the students to access them. So for me, I use Basecamp. It's something that I have to pay for. I think it's $25 a month, but I use it as my online way to organize content. First of all, because I work with adult learners, and I think it's something that's very easy for people to understand and navigate. But there are free things out there. I think start looking at the social media that's out there. You can create a Facebook presence that is in a somewhat safe environment that you invite learners and limit who can access that page. Again, same thing with YouTube. Looking at the possibility of using YouTube. There's a newer site out there called Schoology, which is an online learning environment, and at least at the beginning it is free, and I've just started using it, but that is something that I would really highly recommend that you take a look at, because again, it's something that's easy to navigate and easy for you, the teacher, to upload all of your information. And of course, there are many ways that you can create your own blog or website, and looking at Google tools, looking at many, if you just do a Google search on creating a free blog or creating a free website, there's a lot of support out there. So that is what I would suggest when you think of how to organize your flipped classroom.